The middle class can no longer afford rent in America. Despite the fact that the costs of new leases are now beginning to decrease, rent has never been more reasonable than it is right now, and this applies to tenants with both high and low incomes. One of the most important indicators of affordability is the fact that 50% of renters in the United States spend more than 30% of their income on housing expenditures. The financial burden is increasing at the fastest rate for tenants who are in the middle class. This is according to a new analysis that was published by the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies. The report discovered that the number of renters who are regarded to be cost-burdened reached a record high of 22.4 million in 2022, which is an increase of 2 million from only 3 years prior. The number of households with housing costs that consumed more than 50% of their income reached an all-time high of 12.1 million, which is the highest number ever recorded for individuals with severe burdens. To a large extent, renters were not spared from the spike in housing costs that occurred during the epidemic. Middle-class households with incomes ranging from $45,000 to $74,999 had the most rapid increase in prices, which was a staggering 5.4 percentage points. In addition, it increased by a significant 2.6 percentage points for individuals earning between $30,000 and $44,999. Both the wealthiest and lowest earnings in the country saw their loads increase over this time period. The research, which is based on data that was just recently made public from the American Community Survey 2022, comes at a time when rent continues to be the primary factor that contributes to inflation in the country. Other factors that contributed to historically high prices, such as backlogs in supply chains or shortages of workers, have greatly improved, which has contributed to the stabilization of total inflation. On the other hand, the high cost of rent continues to consume a significant portion of people's personal budgets. For the 44 million households in the country that are renters, the year 2017 brought about some change that had been long awaited. According to RealPage, the rate of rent growth for professionally managed apartments dropped to just 0.4% in the fall of 2023, which is a significant decrease from the 15.3% growth seen at the beginning of 2022. Economists are currently waiting for the change to manifest itself in the official statistics about inflation. It is anticipated that rent costs will not return to the levels they were at before the epidemic, which would result in an increasing number of renters with already limited financial resources being forced out of their homes. Throughout the course of the previous few years, the challenge has, at various points in time, captured the attention of policymakers and economists. In the year 2021, legislation that was intended to provide assistance for the coronavirus authorized billions of dollars for emergency rental assistance. However, the government funds was tardy to be distributed. An attempt was made by the administration of Vice President Joe Biden to maintain a national eviction moratorium in order to prevent a surge of people who were without homes. Nevertheless, the protection was ultimately overturned by the Supreme Court. In addition, the White House made an announcement regarding new measures to safeguard tenants in the previous year, when officials were under pressure to address the rising expenses. On the other hand, campaigners and housing specialists point out that the problems with housing in the country are not restricted to immediate concerns. Despite the fact that the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, the entire market continued to be quite active, which resulted in a significant increase in mortgage rates. Some households have been spared the effects of the housing crisis, particularly those that have the funds available to purchase a property or those that already own a home and are able to remain in a home that they purchased at a low interest rate. To begin, new development typically aims to occupy the upper echelons of the market, and the prices of these units are likely to remain high because there is still a significant amount of demand among tenants with higher incomes. At the same time, there has been a reduction in the number of apartments that are priced cheaper. This is due to the fact that landlords are either trying to increase their rents or selling their properties, or they are letting more affordable homes fall into disrepair. When inflation is taken into account, there were only 7.2 million units that had rentals that were less than $600 in 2022. This is a loss of 2.1 million units when compared to the previous decade. The supply is of utmost significance. It is without a doubt something that I will emphasize. Ergo Bricky stated. However, those individuals who are already struggling to make ends meet will not be able to reap the benefits of that supply in the near future. There is no way to know what will occur after the year 2024 and beyond. Neither the study nor the results from the census of 2023 will be made public until later this year. The report itself does not make any particular projections. On the other hand, there is little hope that rents will decrease, nor is there any anticipation that the housing market as a whole will suddenly become more level playing field. What is the solution to the problem? The housing resources available to local governments are quite limited in today's world. The people who have the greatest housing requirements are the households with the lowest incomes, and they are the ones who are targeted by what they have. On the other hand, here are two suggestions that could improve the affordability of housing for those in the middle class. The first solution is to connect growth with affordability. Zoning regulations need to be loosened in order to make it possible for more rental housing to be constructed in areas where it is most needed. We should lift height limits, reduce parking requirements, and permit more modest-sized flats and micro-units in many of our cities, transit-served suburbs, and small-town centers. There is room and appropriate infrastructure to support smart expansion in these areas, and we should prioritize these areas. However, because there is a significant demand for housing, and there is a limited amount of land that is immediately available, we cannot just construct additional homes and fix the problem, at least not in the short term. Take Washington's recent experience into consideration. Even though the city created more than 11,000 housing units between 2010 and 2013, the median rents actually jumped by 18% during that time period. We have to continue expanding, but at the same time, we have to make sure that more of what we construct is within reasonable price ranges. It should be expected of developers that when they are allowed to build to heights or densities that are higher than what is normally authorized by law, they should be forced to contribute a portion of that extra value by incorporating some affordable housing for renters with low and middle incomes. The construction of transit station areas and streetcar routes is being carried out in accordance with this method in areas such as Fairfax County and Arlington County, Virginia. It is a win-win situation for both the inhabitants and the developers. Therefore, they are both on board with it. Communities benefit from the addition of homes that are priced in the middle and lower ranges, match the needs of the community, and are located in close proximity to public transportation. Developers profit from the vast new potential that is opened by the zoning amendments. A similar set of inclusionary housing regulations have been implemented in hundreds of municipalities and counties around the country. Approach 2. Assist a greater number of qualifying homebuyers. In order to alleviate pressure on the rental market, we need to make it possible for more people with middle incomes and qualifications to purchase homes. In order to push for the replacement of the current temporary patchwork with a dependable system that assists individuals in purchasing a home, the National Housing Conference has brought together a large coalition of individuals. Homeowners would benefit from housing finance reform that is founded on sound principles, and the rental market would experience less pressure as a result. These housing alternatives are not only feasible, but also capable of garnering support from all parties, and they are badly required. So this is the end of our today's video. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.